If only I had spidey senses, so I can tell when something's wrong. Oh, and I'm in search to protect this heart from breaking into pieces. Where's my hammer? Where's the shield? All the strength to carry the weight of the world. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall.
Now, here's your host, DJ Host with the Most.
Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of Snap Decisions. I am your Snap DJ, your host with the most, and it's Monday. Wow, did this week get away from me? I know that that's kind of expected from me now, I guess, at this point, but at some point, when things calm down with work and everything else that's going on, I will get back on a normal, well, whatever normal is for me, schedule. But I apologize for the lateness here. But again, just a lot of stuff going on. I haven't had much of a chance to play over the past couple of days. I'm going to end up at the rank that I've been at for the month because I doubt I'll get a whole lot of time to play it here. Just a lot of other stuff going on. Basically, life stuff, work. I've had a little bit of a cold. I was under the weather for a couple of days. Stuff going on with the family and just, just a lot of things. And that's okay. Sometimes real life hits and gets in the way of things. And usually that takes time away from your leisure time and the things that you wanted to do. Although this past week was kind of nice because I had, on top of things going on in life, I also had a chance to, went out with my wife a little bit. We very seldom get a chance to do anything much together because she works a second job, which is takes up her nights most of the time, and that's usually the time I'm home. So we got a chance to go on like a little bit of a date night, which is cool. We don't get that very often. We drove out of town a little bit and went to a place to eat and did some shopping and things like that. So that was cool. Again, we don't get to do that very much. So, one thing I will tell you, it's always important, right? You spend time with the family, spend time with the kids, as much as you can, because I'll tell you, just take it from me, the time goes very quickly. And, before you know it, I mean, my youngest is graduating, college very soon. And, again, my wife and I will be empty nesters, and it's just crazy. So, cherish that time. Believe me, if there's one thing that I've learned, being the age that I am now, is that life goes very quickly. And, it's important to have things like we all have with games and Snap and things like that. It is. It's important. It's a distraction. It's a good thing to have hobbies, but just, realize that, there's things out there, that, need to take precedence. And of course, that's your relationships with your family, with your significant others, with your kids and all that kind of stuff, because that kind of stuff gets fleeting. And these games can really get you lost. And not just, not of course just these small mobile games are, they're kind of a cool little distraction. And in most cases you can sit and play, and some of the shorter ones are better for you in a way, because you can kind of just sit and play a game or two in a few minutes, walk away, do the stuff you need to do. But some of the other ones, I mean, I've been watching some creators playing Resident Evil 9 lately, and, they take hours, right? Hours and hours and hours. And they're made so well that they become at the point where you can't really put it down. You want to kind of stop. You want to hit that save button. But on the other hand, you want to finish the story because you want to find out where it goes. It's like you're watching a good movie or a TV show, when you want to just kind of get to the end, not a series per se, because they go on for so long. Well, kind of a series, I guess, but you just want to come to the next part. And it's crazy. So, obviously, I'll talk more about Resident Evil in pixel perspective, but it's one of those games that I can't play because half of it is from first person perspective. So they kind of made it where it switches from third to first. And unfortunately, first person perspective games I could never play because of motion sickness issues and things like that. So I'm kind of watching creators play it. But it's some of these creators have been at it, and it looks as if people have finished it in about like 15 hours or so. But some of these creators' videos are like 3 hours long in a clip. So, and for me, watching YouTube is a fun thing to do. I do a lot of it. I watch a lot more YouTube now than I watch, stuff on regular, on TV or on paid, the paid networks or the apps and stuff like that. I do a lot of YouTube watching now. So, that's my form of entertainment. But again, you can look up in the last couple of days when I've come home from work and I'm kind of settling in a little bit, I'll if I get home at 8:00, 9:00, I have something to eat. But at that time, it's like almost 10, and then I settle in and I'm watching some of these videos, and at 3 hours long, 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, by that time it's bedtime. So, it can get away from you. But again, you gotta realize that you do have to make time for the important things. And, the nighttime is kind of my time because that's when my wife's in bed. She goes to bed a lot earlier than I do. And that's kind of the time where I just kind of chill. So, but yeah, anyway, lengthy apology, but we've got a lot to get into today. So I'm not gonna take a lot of time here in the prologue. We have a lot of things to do. At the beginning of the show here, we're going to discuss the latest OTA and the ramifications of that. Whether, was it good enough? Did it cut down the current meta and the Star-Lord stuff? Yes, but with a caveat. And the caveat is it brought back a recurring problem. So we'll talk about that. And then, of course, I've got my card ranks. So we've got the Age of Apocalypse card ranks this month, the Horsemen of Apocalypse, for this month. So I'll give you all my rankings of the cards and which card I'm looking forward to the most of all of these cards. Of course, and the new objective mechanic that's been put into the game. So we'll get to all that at the very beginning of the show. Also, we'll get to my worst cards in Snap Part 2. Part 2 with the twos. So we'll talk about the twos and we'll get in your remarks and your thoughts on that. And then, of course, we'll move over into the Snap in a Snap, which is, of course, my time in the game. Which I did not get much time to play this week. I really just didn't. I'll be completely truthful. What I was playing was just at nighttime messing around. Of course, I messed around with the limited time game mode. I was playing some of that, which I did complete. And then, of course, a little bit of Conquest and this and that here and there. But I honestly haven't touched the ladder. And I'll get into that in a Snap segment as well. Then we go over to Comics Corner, where we are going to talk about Jack Flag and Starhawk in comics, get their origins, where they came from, who created them, and all that good stuff. And after that, we will talk about my comic book picks for the week and what I read. And, of course, all that from the Marvel, courtesy of the Marvel Comics app. I also picked up a comic in Barnes & Noble. I went to my local Barnes & Noble, picked up a comic book that I have. It's one of my favorite books, and I had a copy, and I don't honestly know where it is. I literally either lost it, got rid of it. Maybe I lent it to someone to read, and I just don't have it. So I had to rebuy it. So I went to Barnes & Noble. Haven't really been going to Barnes & Noble much, even though it's literally a walking distance away from where I work. But I haven't been in there much, and I love going to Barnes & Noble. I love it. I would love to work in a Barnes & Noble. I think that would be an ideal job for me. I think that would be, it seems very chill to work in a bookstore. And, but yeah, so I bought a new book, so I'll talk to you about that and which book it is. I've mentioned it, I'm sure, on the show before. Then we will get into Pixel Perspective, and we'll talk a little bit about what I've seen from Resident Evil Requiem, and is it a worthy chapter? Because I've watched a lot of these over the years. I was able to play like the first couple before they became first person. Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2. This one is kind of a big follow-up to Resident Evil 2 with a lot of elements from that game in it. But it, of course, advances the story. So I know the characters and things like that. And, of course, I'll let you guys know, do I think it's worth getting? It looks amazing. And from the creators I've watched that played it, certainly look like they had a fun time with it. And it looks like it's going to take you, if you really want to be a completionist and you want to get everything done, it looks like it's going to take you about maybe 15 to 20 hours to beat it. So we'll talk about that in Pixel Perspective. And then that'll be a wrap on this one. So let's get into it, shall we? And the first thing we're going to look at here is we're going to go over the latest OTAs that came out. So we'll look at the OTAs in the game, and we'll talk about these. Now, it was kind of weird because there were two OTAs that were done that weren't included, but that'll be included at a later date. So they're going to be in here, but they just weren't included right away. So the big one, guys, of course, the big two are Star-Lord and Fin Fang Foom. Star-Lord going to a 4-3, and of course Fin Fang Foom going to a 7-10. And I'm going to tell you right now, Fin Fang Foom, I said this before, this is an extremely powerful card. Taking a couple of points of power off of him isn't going to matter. It just doesn't. Because of his ability to get the power from two cards in the front lane of your opponent, it's still always going to win a lane. And a couple of points of power isn't going to cut it. It just isn't going to cut it. I've said that before this OTA was even done. And so, you guys can let me know what your thoughts are on that, but I really don't think it's going to, I haven't seen enough to know whether it's going to cut play down from the card, but I really kind of doubt it. I just don't see that as a, unless they're going to really, really take this down to like a 7-8, or something like that, then, still being a card that's in double digits, a couple points of power isn't really going to hurt him that much. Now, Star-Lord goes to a 4-3. And particularly in that card, yes, it hurts one type of play for Star-Lord, which is the play where you're copying him via Zola or something like that. And he's going to have enough power to help you or even win a lane because of that. So, yes, it's going to hurt that type of Star-Lord deck, but that's not the most played Star-Lord deck. So, is it going to affect the others? Maybe, and you might have seen it shift the meta. So, it did shift the meta, but here's the thing. It shifted the meta back to something that was a previous problem. And that's Shu Lao. He is now more prominent and in the best deck in the game, which is that move deck that's out there with Batroc the Leaper and all that kind of stuff, and Hydra Stomper. So now Shu is in that deck, which just makes it even better. So now we're back to Shu Lao. So we're just kind of reducing a problem that just brings back another problem. And it's the same thing with when Star-Lord was prevalent. What did that lead to? Well, that led to the move deck. But what did the move deck in it? The move deck had Cannonball Mercury in it. So you went from a problem to a problem. And so now this move deck is everywhere right now, and especially as in higher points of ladder, infinite ladder. But listen, I've seen people are playing in the limited time game mode against me with that move deck, which I find phenomenally ridiculous. Ridiculous or laziness, one or the other. And it could just be laziness. The fact that people just went out, they copied the best deck in the game, and that's the only deck that they have, or that's the only, or they feel in their head that that's the only deck that they should play. And so it ends up becoming part of a limited time game mode that is really, just silly. But, and I'm sure it's also bots in the limited game mode that are playing it too, because there are a lot of bots floating around in there, and they're just picking and choosing from the. This is why I go back to this bot thing a lot, and this is why I think the bot stuff has to be reviewed, because for the bots to just take the best deck in the game and play it everywhere. They're going to play it in Conquest. They're going to play it in limited time game modes. They're just going to, that to me is just lazy. And and I've said this before, we just have there is a bot problem. And the solutions they have come up with for bots to obviously, take care of the problem at hand, which the problem at hand is that a declining player base. So the solutions that they've come with just aren't cutting it. Because it doesn't make it. If you want, you have to at least work a little bit here. And, I think that if you want to have, but I get it. Programming stuff is not easy. And to program bots to be different for each game mode is probably even harder. I'm sure it is. And it's probably going to take even more time, to get something like that fixed. And God knows we need bigger things like that than that fixed in the game. Namely, like just all the bugs and stuff that are harming gameplay right now. But anyway, in my opinion, did it hurt the Star-Lord meta? Probably not all that much when people, really aren't. Because now you're just back to seeing the Star-Lord High Evo deck, which is still one of the best games in Snap. Or I'm sorry, one of the best decks in Snap. You're just not seeing the incredibly selfish one where they're using multiple Star-Lords to have that humongous last turn. That's the one that it cut down on, because Star-Lord now at 4-3 is not really going to probably win you a lane. So yes, it kind of stopped one issue with Star-Lord, but it's not going to do anything to the other ones. Cutting points of power, in my opinion anyway, in OTAs is, I'm sure, probably the easiest fix they could make. And in many cases in the past has worked. But when you run into a situation like this one, where the power of the card isn't necessarily the problem, then it's the effect of the card, which I'm sure is much harder for them to fix, then it's not gonna really change much. But again, this one was weird because yes, it did change things, but all it did was return an old problem we had before. So now we're going back to, is the shoe thing really enough? Or was it really enough? But as I've said before, you're not going to see quick change to a current card. You're not going to see quick change, especially to a season pass card. Now, looking ahead at today's card ranks, I think we're going to get to a point where this way overpowered season card stuff is going to kind of stop, because it doesn't look like the season pass card for this month is all that impressive or all that broken or anything like that, whatever term it is you want to use. Whereas the last two season pass cards in, the Dragon season, and now, the past season, Guardian season, have been pretty broken. So I don't think we may be getting away from that, which is probably a good thing. Now, will it come back at some point? Maybe. Once we get into like the movie stuff that we're going to get into, Spider-Man Brand New Day, the Doomsday stuff. Obviously they're going to want to really make those season pass cards out to be really, really good. So we may get back to that, but it looks as if maybe, at least for now, at least this month anyway, the season. But my question to that is, and we'll move to the other cards here. My question for that is, does that mean that the meta will ignore the new season cards? Because if they're not great, then what's going to possess people to play them, and what's going to possess people, okay, we have a new thing called objectives to mess around with, which is fun. But if people find themselves going up against the current meta, in ladder especially, and the meta is Shu Lao move, or the meta is Star-Lord High Evo, or I think right now the best deck in the game is a High Evo deck that doesn't even have Star-Lord. At least according to Regis Kilman, I saw a video that he did. So if you get on ladder and you're trying these new cards, these new objective cards, and they're not getting you where you want to be, or they're not winning you a lot of games, how long are people going to be playing with the new cards? See, this is where they're between a rock and a hard place, because you want people to experiment. You want to kind of say, okay, we're done. Enough of the Star-Lord stuff. That's in the past. We want to move forward. We want everybody to be playing this objective stuff. We want to get people doing the objective stuff. So let's move on. But the problem is, ladder doesn't. This is the problem that we have with ladder in general. Ladder doesn't move on, right? You're still, because the bots, unless these new cards get to be super popular in a deck, the bots aren't going to recognize it. So the bots are still going to be playing the really good decks. So they're still going to be playing the Star-Lord deck, or they're going to be playing the High Evo Star-Lord deck, or they're going to be playing the Shu Lao move deck. And there you are, all hyped up about, I've got my cool objective stuff. I'm going to go in, I'm going to play objectives and everything like that. And then you run up against bots, and they're playing the top decks in the game, and you get destroyed. Or you're running up against some of the higher players on ladder to start off the day. If you're starting right away tomorrow, and not letting the smoke clear and letting the high players get way above you very quickly, because that's what they do. They'll raise up 10, 20 ranks, and they'll be in the 90s or 100s, within hours. So unless you let that go, that's part of the reason why I don't play a lot of ladder day one anyway, because let the people that want to get out of the way, and let them climb up their ladder and get to infinite and do what they got to do, because then you're back to where you're going to be playing bots and stuff. But again, if you're trying your objective stuff and the objective stuff isn't working out, then you're left losing a lot. And then where you're kind of stuck with it. But like, you guys tell me, what are your thoughts on this? What do you think of all this? Is what I'm saying true? Because I kind of think that it is. Even if the season changes, ladder's not. So if ladder is your way of playing this game for the most part, ladder is not going to change. And, the bots aren't going to change. Now, the bots early on in the level 60s and 70s are kind of crap. But once you get up into the 80s and stuff, and you start seeing all these decks that these bots are playing, they're playing the good stuff. And if you're sitting here playing in Sabanur and it's not working really well, then you're going to be like, well, screw this. I'm not playing this new card. I'm losing like crazy. So I'm just going to go back to the boring old meta from last month. And this is what we run into. And then, but again, this is what the devs run into as well. So this is why I don't envy them. Because if you start making this card with new mechanics, which looks kind of fun, but then on the other hand, you've got these super powerful cards out there. This is what it turns into, where they are going to be forced. They're going to be forced in a way to really make more changes to Shu and to Star-Lord. They're going to have to. Because if they don't, then, and Fin Fang Foom as well, if they don't, then what is the incentive for people to play them? What is the incentive for people to play the new stuff? If it's at a point where it doesn't compete. And when we get to my card rankings, we'll talk about the cards and whether or not, because the question is not whether or not they're fun. Because I don't doubt a lot of these cards look fun. I'm going to tell you which one the one I'm looking most forward to, and it's not necessarily the season pass, but I'll tell you. But if you're not finding fun with the new stuff, and fun to you is winning, and listen, in a game of win or lose, fun is usually winning, right? Then what is the incentive for you? When because a lot of you are going to listen, those of you listening to me and those of you listening to others and are looking at their card ranks, because that's one of the things all the creators do. I watched Regis do it, and plenty of others out there doing it. I listen to Snap on This doing their ratings, so everyone out there is going to give you their thoughts. But if you hear their thoughts and then you think to yourself, I'm not hearing what I want to hear. I'm not hearing that this card or that card is going to be better than the past two season passes. Then what? So, anyway, the rest of the OTA. Sorry, that was just a little tangent for the pod today. The rest of the OTA, we got Eliath getting a nerf. He goes down to 6-7. Elias getting a nerf simply because he took a stray for Star-Lord because of the Star-Lord decks, because that was just one of the cards that would end up being played to add to the pain of the Star-Lord deck. So he took a stray from that. The rest of it is all buffs. We got Rocket and Groot buffed back up to 3/3, which should have been that way at the beginning, to be honest. This card was always much better. And I did see a little bit of people going back to toxic lists a bit because of this card. And Rocket and Groot was always a very popular card, but it should have been a 3/3 to begin with. We got Jeff. How about that? Jeff is going to a 2/4. This card was the card in the meta, right? This card was the solve card, solve a problem card. You could play it anywhere. Back in the day, Jeff was so popular. Jeff was in every deck. Jeff was in my OG Galactus deck because you always ended up with locations that you could not play a card on. And Jeff solved that problem. If you had the card in your deck, you would win games just because of that. So now Jeff is a 2/4. Whether it puts him back into the game a lot, I don't know. But at some point, I think he will make a comeback again. And it's going to depend on whether or not you're going to get maybe more locations that are lockout locations into the game, which I don't know if the devs will do that. But, you always have. And again, if you have that featured location, and ends up becoming a featured location that locks you out of the location, well, Jeff is going to appear in the meta. And 2/4 is pretty good. So yeah, that's a pretty good one. Magus. I used to call him Magus. It just seemed like a better way to do it, but it is Magus. Goes down to a 2/3. I just don't know that that's going to help him, to be honest. I just don't know if that's going to help him. It's just not a good card, which is a shame. Because like I said, I had him up there too in my ranks, and boy, was I wrong. He's just bad. And I really don't know that this is going to be, that this is going to do anything for him. So this is honestly a rework card. This is a card that I think is going to be somewhere down the road that needs to be reworked. And like I said, it's a shame because I really love the character, and you all know that if you listen to my episode when I talked about him in Comics Corner. And then last but not least, another Surfer card. Sebastian Shaw gets a buff, so he goes to a 3/5. Surfer got prominent because of our last card that we got in the month, because of Jack Flag. He fits right into a Surfer list. Any card that's a 3 is going to go. I mean, Rocket and Groot can obviously go into a Surfer list. He's been in there before. So Surfer, for whatever reason, I'm going to tell you flat out, there are 2 decks in this game that I hate. Move is one. You can count Move Bounce with that too. And then Surfer. I hate Silver Surfer. I hate it. I just flat out hate it. I don't like playing it because, again, it's one of those decks that for whatever reason, when I choose to play it, I just don't get the cards. I never get Surfer when I play Surfer. I never get it. So Surfer hates me, and I hate it. I can't stand. There are some people that will play that deck all of the time. All of the time. They don't shy away from it. They love it. And no matter what 3 card they get goes in it, and they'll make it fit in there, whether it's good or whether it's not. I hate Silver Surfer. I hate it. I was one who campaigned for a nerf of this card many years ago, and I hate it to this day. I can't stand it because it always just seems, no matter what you've got on the board, that if they get that Surfer out on that last turn, they're just going to beat you. They're just going to beat you. And, but yeah, I am not a fan. I cannot stand the Surfer deck. And the fact that it almost seems like every single month, there's a 3-cost card that comes out that ends up going in a Surfer list. And it's just like one of the devs is in love with Silver Surfer, and they just want to make a card for Silver Surfer every single month. It's like whenever I listen to people do rankings and stuff, I hear, oh, that's a Surfer card. That's going to be awesome. It's like, enough. Surfer, I think, is fine. Surfer is very good. It competes on a high level. Surfer is fine. It doesn't need any more help. We need anti-Surfer in the game. We need something that's going to fight against a Surfer in the game. I mean, obviously Shadow King and stuff like that, but if you know the pain of what I'm talking about, but there are so many people that just love Surfer. Is like it's like comfort food to people. It's like a slice of pizza. I don't know what it is, but they just feel the need to have to keep making Surfer better, and I don't get it. I really don't understand the meaning behind it because it doesn't need the help. Anyway, that is the OTA, for better or for worse. Tell me what your thoughts are on it. Let me know what you think of the OTA. Did it do enough for you? Did it help out in the areas that it needed to? Did it damage Star-Lord enough? 4-3 is pretty hefty. It's a pretty hefty nerf. But did it do enough? I kind of think it may have done enough to the point where we're not seeing it as much. So yes to that question, but going back to Shu Lao, did it help it? Shu is going to have to get another nerf. Shu is going to need another nerf. Fin Fang Foom I don't think is done either. So I think those 2 dragon cards, wow, was that dragon season crazy, wasn't it? When you look back at that dragon season was insane. But I think Shu and Fin Fang Foom are both going to need more. I think they're both going to need more. The rest of it's fine. Eliath, fine. That card may get bounced back up to an 8 at some point because of necessity. Rockin' Groot's fine. Jeff is fine. Magus is still bad. And Sebastian Shaw is another Surfer card that didn't need to be tuned up. Okay. All right, guys. Well, there's the OTA, and that is that. All right. We are going to talk new card ranks. So we're going to go through the cards, and we're going to talk about ranks of the cards. So I'm going to, instead of doing, because I think I'm making it a little bit harder on myself, and it might take up more time than it probably should. So instead of doing I kind of like the way Snap on this does it. I kind of like the way other creators are doing it, and they're just giving a rank to the cards. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go 1 through 5, and I'm going to rank the cards. So I'm going to rank them a 1 to a 5, and that's just how we're going to do this. I'm not going to put them in order like top however many, top 10. How many are we getting this month, by the way? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like 7 cards? That doesn't sound right. Yeah, that transforms into, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow, 8 cards? 9. Sorry, 9. That still sounds like a weird number, but I think, 1, and then and that transforms, so that's not really a card. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9, okay. All right. So let's go. All right. Let's talk quick about Objective and what it is. So Objective introduces a brand new way to play Marvel Snap. This new keyword gives you a quest to chase down in the middle of the match. Rewarding you with powerful effects once you complete it. The best part, the card tracks what you've done all game, and progress can be checked if the card is in your hand or in play. If the objective card is in play, the game will resolve all other effects. Then check to see if the objective is complete. If the conditions are met, the ability will trigger once per game. With Ensaba Nur looming over the battlefield, every turn is filled with big decisions for you and your opponent to make. Whether it builds tension early, delivers an exciting last turn swing, or creates the ultimate bluffing opportunity, Objective is sure to shake things up. Want to dive deeper into Objective? Don't miss our Community Spotlight video on Tuesday, March 3rd, with its guest gaming, KM Best, and special guest Jules Robbins, principal game designer. That's cool. Guess what? We've got Twitch drops coming back. This is exciting for all your favorite creators that stream the game. Just to name a few that I watch, of course, Snap Judgments, Glazer. We've got Binks, of course. We've got Regis Kilbin, who does stuff on YouTube. We've got Nina is Noob, who does stuff on YouTube, but also on Twitch. They, a lot of them do simultaneous on Twitch. So make sure you go out and follow your favorite creators, because you will get some cool swag. It says, we are so back. Kick off this season in style by watching your favorite creators to earn great new rewards. Drops are available from March 3rd to March 6th, guys. So March 3rd to March 6th. If you haven't linked your account, you can visit they have the thing here. It's https://twitch.marvelsnap.com/ to get set up before the big party. Watch 2 hours to earn a mystery variant. Watch 4 hours to earn a premium mystery border, and watch 6 hours to earn a premium mystery variant. So for those of you that are like me and you are 700 gold complete, your mystery variant will be gold, 200 gold. Your premium mystery border will be what it is. And then your premium mystery variant could very well be a avatar. Sometimes is, sometimes not. It's just random. So if you're like me and you are collection complete in that area, that's what you'll get. Otherwise, you'll get the mystery variant, which will be a 700 gold variant. And then you'll get the mystery border and the premium mystery variant. So, but anyway, very cool. Free stuff is good. All right. Let's go to N. Sabah Noor. Objective is what his card reads. He is a 4/5. Have a full front row at each location. Doesn't sound so hard to do, right? A lot of times. I mean, unless it could be, though, because if the location is crap, right? If the location is garbage, number one, if you can't get into the location, let's just say you put down a card on it and then it turns into a location you can't get in anymore. Well, there goes your objective. Or if the location's giving you negative stuff or it's stuff you don't necessarily want to play there, well, then there goes your objective. But you must have a full front row at each location. Transform into Apocalypse Celestials Chosen. So Apocalypse Celestial Chosen is a 4/8. Now it does say transform into Apocalypse Celestial Chosen 0/6. So would that make him a 4/14? Kind of sounds like that. It'd be a 4/14 if you transform him. But again, the objective isn't going to be super easy. But it says on reveal for Apocalypse Celestials Chosen, swap the lowest power card in your front row at any location with a card from your deck. So, I mean, that's kind of cool. You're mostly playing like one cards. But again, if you're playing one cards that you kind of want, that's going to be a bit of a detriment to you. So, yeah. I mean, 4/5, the cost of the 4/5 in Sabanur, so you're not getting him out till turn 4. Unless you cheat him out. So he's coming out at turn 4. Turn 4, a 4/5 is pretty bad. A 4/8 isn't great. So, and what he does on reveal, you're just pulling another card out of your deck and swapping the lowest power card in your front row. So, I mean, that could be good, right? Depending on what you're playing. I mean, obviously, if you have like a Fin Fang Foom in your deck, you certainly will trade that, right? But you could also get something bad. So this is a gamble at best. And the objective doesn't really feel that easy to do. That's 6 cards that you're thinking of out of your deck that have to be lined up in front rows on each location, which in many cases may not be good. And you may be losing the game because of it if it has negative, if it's giving your cards negatives or something like that. So unless it's one of those ones where it's like you want to get immediate cards in there. Like if it's a location that's going to give you a 0 cost card, you're going to want to fill the location. So then you're fine. Now, I mentioned earlier that high Evo negative list is the best deck in the game according to Regis. It could very well stay that way because if people are filling lanes, what's kind of one of the best decks to play? Or high Evo negative, because they're going to be putting out negative cards if you get the Scorpion off. If you have a Cyclops out there, your Cyclops is going to be hitting those cards every single turn. So that could be one of the sleeper decks to start to look into playing. Also, probably Toxic, because again, if your opponent's trying to do this stuff and trying to play in these lanes with early cards. You get a Man Thing out there and you get some Toxic stuff going on, La Fey, or, you get some of that stuff going on. They're going to be a sad camper. So better hope that those cards are digging out of their thing with the objective are pretty big, because that's, you might be a sad camper. So that could be one of the easy things to avoid. So anyway, 1 through 5 for the season pass card. I can't go on this more than like a 3, a 2.5, 3. I'll go a 3. And I think that's pushing it, to be honest. I'll go with 3 on Insabat Noor, and I think that's now. We'll see. We'll see. The season pass is usually the one that I will always say is definitely worth getting because of the other things that you're getting and stuff like that. I'm obviously going to have season passes to give away here for the month, so stay tuned for that as well. But I don't know, man. This is definitely not your overpowered season pass like the last two. So it does have the new thing. So everybody's going to want to try the new thing, which is objective, and see how it goes. And we'll have to see what's going on with it and how it plays and stuff like that. But just reading the card, I can't give it more than a 3. So I'll go 3 on Insabat Noor. All right, we have the Super Premium Season Pass. Of course, that's the one you have to pay extra for. Is Iska the Unbeaten. Iska is a 4/3, end of turn. If you're losing this location, double this card's power. So if you're losing the location at the end of the turn, now this is an end of turn card, so this could get big, right? I heard Lauren Whatevs talk about it on their show on Snap on this. How you could play this with an Invisible Woman deck, and you could just make this thing go nuts, right? With the Invisible Woman, Jocasta, and all that end of turn stuff that you do, this card can just go nuts. Double, because you're going to double it to it's going to double to 6, then it's going to double to 12, then it's going to double to 24, then 48. I mean, this card can get gigantic in that deck. So yes, in a end of turn deck, or if you have oh my gosh. If you're playing with Aurora, obviously Aurora will buff this card. So I don't know. This seems like it could be kind of fun in a certain type of deck, but you're definitely going to have to play it in one of those decks. It's going to have to go in an Invisible Woman deck. But I mean, if you're losing a location, now end of turn, it does it once. So the most you're going to get it, unless you're playing in an Invisible Woman deck, the most you're going to get it to would be a 4/6. But again, it's going to help you win or help you start to win that location. Again, it's a 4 cost card. So you're going to get it out later. So it's a card that can help you win a lane. Even if it's a 4/6, if you're losing the lane, it's going to double. But end of turn only works once, I believe, right? It only works once unless you have something else to trigger the end of turn. So, and again, there are ways to do that. So unless you're thinking Invisible Woman right away with this, which honestly I haven't played in a while. I'm kind of sick of that deck, to be honest. That deck's been all over the meta. But I don't know. This one I'll say I'll give it a 2.5. I'll give it a 2.5 with the season pass a little bit more just because of the new objective thing. But I'll go 2.5 on this. Again, it's going to be crazy in Invisible Woman, and maybe that's exactly where it goes, and that's exactly what people play it in. Because obviously, whatever lane that Iska is in an Invisible Woman deck, is just gonna be, you're gonna win that lane. You're just going to win that lane. And then all you have to do is space out your cards, have Iska in one lane, have the Sunspot or the Thena in another lane, and you're more than likely winning those two lanes. So I guess, in that deck, it definitely makes a lot of sense. So I'll give it I'll give it a 3. I'll go with 3 on it. All right, so I'll go 3. So season pass card, I even want to go 2.5 on that season pass card. I'm gonna go 2.5 on Insabat Noor, and I'm gonna go 3 on this. Okay. Now we have Series 5 cards. We've got Juggernaut, Horseman of War. Objective, boy, the people are gonna have a field day with the people that complain about remade cards are gonna have a field day. Okay, so his objective, he's a 2/2. Objective, have 6 different powers among your other cards in play. He gets a +6 power. So He's going to go to a 2/8 if you have 6 different powers among your other cards in play. 6. Good for a zoo deck, right? Because if you have Marvel Boy in there and Marvel Boy keeps on hitting those cards, you're definitely going to have 6 different powers, right? Also good for a Jack Flag deck or a zoo deck, Jack Flag deck. I would probably work pretty well in that. 2/8 is nothing to sneeze at. That's pretty good stat line. But how hard is the 6 different powers among your other cards going to be? That's the question, right? A buff deck, I guess he would fit into. I'll say a 2. It's not exciting to me. It doesn't excite me. Next up is Gambit. Objective, play 5 total cost of created cards. Randomly destroy up to 4 total cost of enemy cards. So, play 5 total cost of created cards. I guess this goes well in like a Vicky hand deck, right? Created cards. Also probably goes well in Arishem. Because most of your cards in those decks are created cards. And then he's just going to randomly destroy up to 4 total cost of enemy cards. Now that doesn't seem great, because up to 4 total cost, he could end up destroying like a 1. Then he's certainly not going to destroy. He's not going to destroy anything big. You're not going to get a 5 cost or a 6 cost destroyed, right? So if they get out an early 5 or 6 cost, you're not going to do that. This is up to 4 total costs. So your high roll on this is he's going to destroy a 4 cost card. Your low rolls is going to be a bunch of 1s, a couple 2s, or a 3 and a 1. So, that's what you've got as an upside. So, I guess, destroying cards is always good, but what is it you're going to hit? Depending on when you play him, I guess. It's obviously, he's a 3/3. So obviously if you wait till like turn 4, wait till later in the game to play him, but then what deck does he fit in? Gambit a lot of times goes in discard, right? Because he just wants to, but the regular Gambit just sometimes goes into, he has to be discarded. So he's going to go into discard decks. He goes into most of those decks. Now he's going into the hybrid ones sometimes too, the discard and destroy decks. But where is this card going to fit? Is it going to go in a destroy deck? I don't know. I kind of don't think so. People love Gambit, though, so they'll probably trip. I don't know. I'll give this one a 3. Then we got Caliban. Caliban's a 3/4 objective. Have 3 cards that are 4 cost or higher in play. So this is for bigger things. Afflict the highest cost enemy card with -7 power. So this seems pretty good. Have 3 cards that are 4. This is pretty good in like a ramp style deck, because you're going to get those bigger cards out, right? You're going to have bigger cards. What about like a Surtur list, like an old school Surtur list? Highest cost enemy card, -7. I don't know. I kind of like this one. We'll see how it goes, but I'm gonna give this one a 3.5. I kind of like this card. I kind of like this one. I think this one's pretty good. I kind of like this one. You know what? I'm going to go a 4. I'm going to go a 4 on that. I kind of like that card. I think this card is going to be pretty good. Next one is Celine. 4/4. Objective, have 3 cards with no abilities in play. Steal 5 power from an enemy card here. This is going to go very, very, very well with the card in the limited time game mode that I'm looking very, very forward to. No ability cards. No ability cards. Now, this would also go into an Ultron deck. Patriot Ultron would work with this, because you'd easily have 3 cards with no abilities in play, and you're going to steal 5 points of power from an enemy card here. So again, these both kind of interest me because they both look like they have specific decks that want them. So and as you will know a little bit later on, Celine's going to fit very well in another type of deck that we're going to see as a card comes up later. So I'm going to give both of these. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give both of these 4s because of looking forward to what they're going to fit into. So I'm going to give both of them 4s. And then we have Ramatut. Ramatut is a 4/5 on reveal. This is not an objective card, by the way. So Caliban is, Celine is, Juggernaut, Horseman of War is, and Gambit, Horseman of Death are all objective cards. And as is the Season Pass card. Iska is not, and neither is Ramatut. So his is on reveal. Use 3 on reveals from cards released before Ramatut's time. This is kind of crazy because, again, this is a big time gamble because you just don't know what he's going to pull. And basically how they described as his time would be before this season, I would assume. Right? So but I think that they also talked about that in the notes and kind of fleshed it out. So you can read that. You can go back and find out exactly what that means. But you're basically going to be looking at any on reveal. So he could end up being a Galactus. But he could also end up being something with a very bad on reveal. He could be a he could be something that hurts you. Let's put it that way. He could be a hazmat that you're completely not expecting. So this card is just going to be fun, but for that reason and for the gamble that you're taking, and you really aren't going to know what that gamble is, I'm going to give this one a 2. I just think it's just too, it looks like it's going to be a fun card, but it's just too random. It's just too random. Now, the limited time event, which we're getting the Clash and we're getting Sanctum, I believe. And these are limited time event cards. So these are Series 4. First one is Sandstorm. On reveal, add 2 rocks to your hand. Give them +1 power for each of your front row characters. Okay? So that's a skill. Costs 2. Limited time event. This is Ozymandias. Ongoing, your rocks have +3 power. Guys, we are going to have a rock deck. We are going to have a rock deck. So everybody dust off your mole man. Get that ready to go. What's the other one now that they changed to make a rock? Darn it, I forget. I can't remember who he is. A 2/6 he is. I can't remember. But dust out those rock cards because I think rocks are going to be relevant. You're going to be able to play them in a Patriot deck. I don't know if you'd want to do Ultron with it because I think you're going to fill your lanes too much. But you're going to want some rocks in your decks, I think, because this is going to be a relevant deck now. I said that before. Ozymandias himself is a 5/9, so he's got some decent power there to help you out. And it's ongoing, so he's in an ongoing list as well. So ongoing, you could play it with Spectrum at the end. So I'm telling you, the rocks, and then add 2 rocks, give them +1 power for each of your front row characters. We are going to have an all rock deck, guys. For both of these, I'm giving Ozymandias because he's going to create a whole new deck. So just for that fact alone, I'm giving him a 4. And Sandstorm, 2 rocks to your hand, +1 power for each of your front row characters. They can be pretty strong. They can be pretty strong. So I'm giving this a 4 as well. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. You're going to be able to play rock decks. So I think that's going to be cool. And I think they're definitely going to be relevant. People are going to have to get their Killmongers ready and stuff too, because there's no kill a rock card other than stuff like that are going to be 1 costed. You're probably also going to have to play what's her face, the one that protects 1s. But yeah, these are going to be fun. These are going to be fun. So there you go. They are my rankings. I'm giving 4s to both Sandstorm and Ozymandias for the fact that they're creating a rock deck. Ramatut gets a 2. Caliban and Selene. Selene also is going to be able to work her way into that rock deck. 3 cards with no abilities in play. Steal 5 power from enemy card here. For sure, she's going to be in there. So her and Caliban both get 4s from me. Gambit, I'm just not sure of. So Gambit, I'm giving him a 3. Have 6 Juggernaut, 6 different powers among your other cards in play. He becomes a 2/8. I'll give him a 3. I mean, I don't think I can go to 2 with him, I think, easily, because yes, he's a 2/8, but I don't like that. No, you know what? I'm giving him a 2. Iska the Unbeaten in that one type of deck is going to be very good, but one type of deck just very much limits it to what it is, and so it's going to be very good in Invisible Woman. Does it bring Invisible Woman back? Probably, because everybody loves to play that, so I'll give it a 3. And then Sabah Nur, first season pass in a while that I don't think is going to be really all that good. And is the objective thing going to be really all that good? I don't know. And like I said to you guys earlier in the show, is it going to be relevant? Is the thing here? And I just don't know. So I've got to give that. And Sabah Nur, I'm going to go with 2. Show me that it's going to be better, and I'll tell you. But anyway, guys, that's my ranks. What are your thoughts on all these cards? Are you excited to play rocks? Because I know I am. I'm excited to play a rock deck, man. And Caliban and Selene, I'm pretty excited for. Iska, if I played Invisible Woman more, I could certainly see it. I'm sure people are going to play it just for the memes alone, because it's going to be outrageously high. But the season pass card, first one in a while, that I'm not crazy about. So there you go. We're going to get to my third section of this, and I'm already at a lot of time here. I'm over an hour. But we're going to get to the ranking the twos. And here's some of the ones that I brought up here. So these are the worst cards in Marvel Snap. So ranking the twos. Now, these are the ones I listed. Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, Wade Wilson, Angel, Baron Mordo, Frankie Ray Nova, and Toxie Doxy and Colossus and the first Ghost Rider are some of the ones that I put out there. So I know which one that I have in my mind. Some of you compromised with me on some of these, or at least try to compromise and get me to sway my opinion. So let's see. Let's find out what you all said, and then we will vote on what card is the worst 2 card in Marvel Snap. All right, so here we go. Let me get to the post. It's down quite low now, because I've been posting a lot of stuff. Where's my 2s? Where are you? There we go. Okay, thank you for all the interaction there. Got 8K on this one, a little less than on the ones, but like 8,000 is pretty good. So I said, time to choose the twos, which is the worst 2-cost card in Snap. I have 8 possibilities. You can choose or pick one of your own. Let me know your reason for the choice. Used on the next podcast. All right, so here we go. JNR says, Mojo or White Widow are definitely also contenders for this. But out of these, Wade Wilson. For a 12-card deck, he would never be picked. So his vote is Wade Wilson and throws in Mojo or White Widow. Mojo I don't agree with because that has its own kind of deck. Not many people play it, but it still fits in certain deck types. And White Widow, yeah, she's just not as good as... How about that? What a fall from grace. That card was used in almost every deck, and now it's just you just don't see it. So I agree. I got a response from Binks, one of my favorite creators out there, which was very cool. So thanks to Binks. Shout out to you, and go check out his content. Does a very good job with all of his stuff that he's doing now and all of his new videos that he's doing. And I always have a great time watching Binks. His streams are just fun. And he says it's Toxie Doxy by a mile, I'm afraid. And I wrote, can't dispute that. Matematico Supremo says, to me, Wade Wilson takes this one easily. Jazar says, Mordo gets crushed solely by until turn 6. It has to be between him and Wade. And Wade is a good plan B in theory, but the curve just doesn't work a lot of times. That's Jazar that says that. Vladimir says, Shocker is even unplayable in Evo decks. Never seen him in a Patriot deck either. Please don't disrespect Mordo. I don't think Mordo's good. I just don't. Never did. Nothing better than Mordo round 2 than Grandmaster into Mordo and round 3 with Iceman, leaving your opponent speechless. If it was so good, Vladimir, I think it would be played a lot more than it is. So I don't know. Yes, is it annoying? Yes. So I'll say it's an annoying card. If it was a most annoying list, it would definitely make it. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you about Shocker. Shocker's not great. But I'm not going to give Mordo that much credit. And yes, there are goofy things you could do with him, but I'm not going to say he's a great card. Reviews from Tub said, I opened the game to take a look. There's a lot of really good 2-drops. Wade seems like the winner here for me. Seems clunky to use. P.S. I love Toxie on release day. Trying to make a giant Galactus. It worked once. OMG, it's Matt Geske, says Wade Wilson. The only one of these I've never even attempted to use. Garbage as far as I can tell. The cleaner with a 1 in the name says Shocker. So useless I don't even play him in high Evo. Joey Fantana says can't argue with Toxie or Thaddeus, but I'd also throw Shocker into the mix. His HE version needs a lift. Burb says Baron for sure. Spade says this is a great list. I've been able to fit most of these in a deck at least once, except for Mordo. His utility is just so much lower in my opinion. Adam Chinasami says Baron Mordo by a landslide. Bibbo says Master Mold, Baron Mordo, and Thaddeus. Alucard says, considering first Ghost Rider doesn't even have a variant in the game, probably speaks to some kind of metric we can't see. I didn't realize that until they pointed that out. He doesn't. There is no variant for that card. There's probably less than 100 people using the card, and they probably have an insanely low win rate when it's played. It's a good point. I didn't even think of that. I didn't know he didn't have a variant, but he's right. They're right, rather. Austin Webb says, well, I agree Baron Mordo is up there. White Widow's got to be on the list as well. Jacob says Thaddeus Ross has some decks he's playable in. The only card I've ever seen that played in has been Surtur. And even in there, he's not played much anymore. Colossus is bad, but playable. Colossus, the only thing I've ever seen him played in are Namor decks. I've seen Angel and Thanos be fine. Frankie has her decks she's fun in. Frankly, similar to the Thaddeus decks, Toxie is unplayable. Jordan says Toxie, Doxie, Mordo are probably the worst. The others are just incredibly niche. I'm collection complete and I go out of my way to play underplayed cards. Colossus has been great in C4 for me this season, LOL. Pipolian says Wade, other 2 costs are way better. Wolverine, Kid Omega, Marrow, and Bucky. Toxie, they should have reworked her with the Team Clash version. Yeah, that's true. The Team Clash version, very much better. Bulu says Frankie Ray Nova. It's a Series 5. You have it in a pack. I think you're deleting the game if you get it in a Series 5 pack. Pal one and Drome. Among these, it's Toxie. Rhythm Scory says, I know you mean gameplay-wise, but relevancy-wise, it's definitely Frankie Ray. At least the others have interesting effects or even are just memorable from how bad they are. I don't think anyone has thought about Frankie in months. Political Gaming says, 2 of them I never played any sort of okay deck with are Wade Wilson and Baron Mordo. The rest I can think of decks that are passable, and Colossus is a good card when you're first starting out. Efrain Lopez says, well, Angel is now decent in a decent Phantom X deck. Nacho says, got to be Thunderbolt Ross. Like, realistically, how many cards would you have in a normal deck with that power? Snapvolt says, I literally never saw Wade Wilson in a game ever. Anyone else was at least experimented with during their release week, but Wade Deadpooled from the start. Overheat says Baron and Angel. Eval says Mordo is bad, but Wade is absolute trash. Angel LC says Baron Mordo number 1, Thaddeus number 2, and then has Toxie Doxie at 3 and Colossus at 4. And then I got Kamiko 95 says, for me, Toxie Doxie, too much of a downside just for 2+2. Never seen her in a deck since she came out. Maybe if she gives a +4 to a single card, she can enter some decks. But at the current state, completely useless. Thinkerman says, not Mad Thinker. Let's see. I think I might have gotten another response on the Laura. Omar Ortiz says, I had great success with Frankie Ray. I really enjoyed playing her. Well, guys, I think I'm down because of your votes here to 2. And I'm going to have to make the final decision because I think it's that close. And I think it's between Baron Mordo and Toxie Doxie. I'm sorry. No. My bad. Wade Wilson and Toxie, I think. Baron's up there too. And Thaddeus was also up there as well. For the most part, though, I think a lot of you like Angel. I think a lot of you like Colossus and Frankie Ray. Pretty much indifferent to the first Ghost Rider. And that could very well be because he just doesn't get played. And I didn't realize he didn't even have one variant. That's truly bad. But I think it came down to Wade or Toxie, guys. Wade or Toxie. So I'm going to split the difference here, and I'm going to say that your worst card in Marvel Snap at at cost 2 is Toxie Doxie. So Toxie Doxie, I think, is the worst. Let me check real quick if I have anything over on Blue Sky, if anyone responded to me over there. But yeah, poor Toxie Doxie. I think that cinched it. I did get one vote over on Blue Sky, and that is, well, there you go. So Ian on Blue Sky, Ian Bowen on Blue Sky, you have made the decision. You have decided it. He says, hands down, Toxie Doxie. So there you go. There you go. Well, wait, we got more. Hold on. Sorry, got more. Have to send my wife a text. Hold on one second. You're going to hear me typing, but there you go. Okay. I got more responses over on Blue Sky. So Jason says, I would say it's a tie between Toxie Doxie and Wade, but I like Toxie more, so Wade gets the nom. Toxie's downside is large. No targeting and restriction on playing in the target cards is pretty unusable in the current meta, but I want her to be good. Jason says also, Wade sounded interesting, but in practice isn't practical. He really only fits in a destroyed deck, and if he misses Deadpool, it's not useful. Tom Peggy says, I played Wade in my Dormammu deck, mostly to get X23. Blue Sky Snapper says, Mantis, saved by the buff. Toxie Doxie, everything everyone said. She's a 2-cost that you can only play on 3 turns. Ross below rate and does so little that he hasn't ever made any serious ramp or hella lists. Brian Moffat says Toxie Doxie. Ian says hands down Toxie Doxie. And so does Tom Peggy say Toxie Doxie. So there you go. Yeah, it's Toxie Doxie, guys. Toxie is the loser. She is the worst 2-cost card in the game. So there you go. Thank you so much for chiming in, all of you who did so. On Blue Sky and, of course, on X. I appreciate all of you. So thank you so much for doing that. All right. So that gets us out of the first part of the show, which is crazy. The first part of that's just the first part. But we had a lot to cover. All right. So we're going to go over to In a Snap, and we're going to talk about my week in the game. So again, no ladder for me. I just couldn't bring myself to play it. I played the limited game mode. I finished the limited game mode. I got the card and all that kind of stuff in there. I played a zoo list in there, and I'll read it to you what it was. It was fun. It did the job. Zoo does a pretty good job in there. And because I had a new card to play around with, Jack Flag played in it pretty well. And so I'm drinking, by the way, drink of the week. Sorry, I had to make a couple of swallows of my beverage there, which I almost choked on, by the way. But this is Diet Ginger Ale. Oh, by the way, my new drink now, oh my God. I'm addicted. Well, I was. I think I'm getting a little sick of it finally now, but for the last few weeks, I was addicted. The new Diet Cherry Coke float, it's called a Cherry Coke float. Oh, God, it was so good. It was like cherry vanilla Coke, and they have it in zero flavor, which is the one I like a lot. That was my drink of choice for the last 2 weeks now. And now I'm finally starting to get sick of it, but it is so good. It's got like a little hint of vanilla, but it's very, very, very good. Really enjoyed it. Give it a try if you like diet sodas. If you like the regular stuff, I'm sure the regular one was even better. But the cherry was the cherry vanilla diet Coke Zero was actually pretty good. Okay, I've entered the game. By the way, I don't know if anybody got that variant from the Apple Store. I did. It's a very cool looking Iron Spider variant that came from the Apple Store. You have to go over. It's $4.99 to get it, and you'll get the card and you get gold. Now, there are issues with it. I had an issue with it where I paid for it and I never got it. So it took the better part of a day by the time I received it. So before I did, though, I requested a refund because I never got it. And I thought it was something with the App Store. They did end up refunding my purchase, and I kept the card, but they took back the gold. So they're like, yeah, we're not giving you free gold for this. So they took back the gold. So I lost the gold, but I kept the card. So I don't know if I can go back and get it again. It'd be interesting to see that. I've been meaning to actually try that, to see it again, if they would just give me the gold back if I bought it again. So I don't know. I might try give that a try at some point. But anyway, all right. So yeah, like I said, I played Sanctum, and now this is going to go through all this business because I didn't play it in the game. It's going to give me all my titles, because I didn't play it on my, I haven't played it on my iPad, so my iPad is behind all this stuff, so they're, okay. So, this is the one I played. This is a standard kind of a zoo list, but this is the one that, this was made as a Jack Flag list, but this is Ant-Man, Echo, Iceman, Squirrel Girl, Zombie Mr. Fantastic, Marvel Boy, Jack Flag, Shauna, Kazar, Blue Marvel, Gilgamesh, and Mockingbird. So again, standard run-of-the-mill. The reason Echo's in here is because of all the ongoing lists, because this was made to just be a regular deck that you could just play in the meta. And it's kind of funny because, you know how sometimes when you're playing these limited modes and you make a mistake and you click ladder, because ladder it defaults to? How many of you have done that? I can't tell you how many countless times I've done that and lost a ladder match because I'm not even playing with a deck I should. However, this deck, I beat the best deck in the game. I beat the high Evo negative list with this deck last night in a ladder game, and I won 2 cubes. So there's that. But in any case, this has worked very well. And even against all those Guardian lists that everybody's playing, because of course everybody's playing Guardians, because Guardians come out in this mode all the time. because they know what lane you're going to play on, and they don't have to guess, and they could put that out, and most of the time their Guardians are just going to get the bonus and stuff. So, but yeah, it's won me. It got me to the end of the mode, and I got all the stuff from the mode, and this is what I played. So that was one of the decks that I have played throughout the course of this week. Some of the other ones that I've got in here, there's been different variants of this, like ramp style kind of OG Galactus deck. It got a little worse because obviously the nerf to Goliath, but otherwise it's Chamber, Kraglin, Electro Wave, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Legion, Blink, Blink, and Leader, Galactus, Goliath, Galactus First Steps, and Fin Fang Foom. So, still pretty good. Gets a lot of power. Kraglin gets the Galactus out early. Leader is in there as a follow-up to the OG Galactus because he could just copy what your what your opponent plays on the last turn, or you could just throw the Fin Fang Foom out there to hopefully win you the lane, or you could just Goliath if you think they're playing like a destroy deck or something with a null. You could just Goliath the last turn, and that's just going to win you games too. So it's decent. It's not great. It's an OG Galactus deck. Sometimes it wins, sometimes it loses. Obviously, you're not going to beat the move deck in the meta. Well, I mean, it depends on what you do. If they get a big jump on you, enough to get priority, you're kind of dead in the water. But if you can get the wave out early, and you can Galactus early, and get it off, then they're in trouble because they can't move cards. So that's this is kind of one of the actual anti-move decks, but you just have to get it off early enough. And the Kraglin helps you kind of do that, and so does the Wave help you do that. So you kind of have to just get it off early, because if you don't, and if they out-prioritize you in every lane right away, you're pretty well screwed. If they get out the Silk, that kind of screws you as well. So there's this deck that's kind of, now this is a version of that deck. So this is the one I was just telling you about, the best deck in the game. This is Batroc, Daredevil, Kraven, Sam Wilson's Captain America, Silk, Cosmo, Hydra Stomper, Drax, Mercury, Negasonic, Miles, and Cannonball. So this was the version of it. It has a new version of it now, and this I think came from KM Best's best deck list. But this is the updated one, and it has now it's got Kitty Pryde, Batroc, Nightcrawler, Hawkeye, Kate Bishop obviously is Hawkeye, Kraven, Sam Wilson, Silk, Maverick, Red Guardian, Cosmo, Hydra Stomper, and Shu Lao. So now that's the Shu Lao version that is in there. There's also another variant of the Shu Lao deck, and that's Ant-Man, Kitty, Agony, Surge, Kate Bishop, Captain America, the Sam Wilson's Cap, Captain Carter, Maverick, Cosmo, Hope, Moonstone, and Shu Lao. That's just the one to get the big Shu Lao in the big last turn. And then we got the Doom deck. I like this one, actually. I played a lot of this, and I think it's the same as the one that I have somewhere in here. Oh, yeah. So this is Hydra Bob, Chamber, Moonstone, Invisible Woman First Steps, Drax, Mercury, Doom, 2099, Iron Lad, Cannonball, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Doctor Doom, and Aurora. So this is an Aurora deck with the Dooms in it. I've played a lot of this, and this has done pretty well. The Drax is just very good in this. The Cannonball Mercury is your last turn. Somebody gets a big card on you, you can just blow it up. Moondragon does very well at gaining power, and so does Chamber. And then, of course, you got the Doom variant of it, or the Doom stuff of it as well. That's just going to fill up lanes. So this works really well, and you know, you got to be mindful of your placement and stuff where you put the cards, because then Aurora will just buff everything at the end. But this is a pretty good deck, and it was on KM's list of best decks. So the ramp style deck really isn't cutting it anymore. This has been around for a while, but I'm just not seeing anybody playing it unless it's a bot. Chamber, Moonstone, Drax, Electro, Luna, Dragon Lord, Legion, Blink, War Machine, Galactus First Steps, Infinite, and Fin Fang Foom, but I'm just not seeing this played much at all anymore. The Star-Lord one that they really cropped down was the Star-Lord Zola deck. So that's the one with Absorbing Man, because you just want to keep like playing Star-Lord over and over and over again, and then just get the big cards out, the Fin Fang Foom. You could even Zola the Fin Fang Foom at the end of it and stuff like that. So that's that one. And then the meta counter deck is still pretty relevant too. This one has Nightcrawler, Daredevil, Iron Patriot, Master Mold, Maximus, Cosmo, Dragon of the Moon, Mercury, Copycat, Negasonic, Supergiant, and Ronin. So that's your Supergiant counter, the meta type of deck that's still out there. So that's what I've been messing around with and playing throughout the course of the week. Other than that, let's get to the... we'll look quickly at the shop. We've got a Man Spider bundle for $50. We've got the Thing bundle for $50. We got a $99 Fantastic Four First Steps bundle. We got a booster pack that you can pay 600 gold for 1,000 credits and boosters. Premium mystery packs, $29.99 for a premium mystery variant and 3,000 tokens. And then in my deck, I have today the Envar Studio variant of Rocket and Groot, which looks really cool. The Pandart Studio variant of Infinite. Oh, I'm 2 away from the She-Hulk thing on that list, so if I get that, I'd be 1 away. Oh, I can get both of them. Look at that. They're all in my shop. I can buy both of them for $2,400 to get the She-Hulk emote. But I don't know if I'll do that. No, I probably won't. We got the Sarah variant of, that's the Vincenzo Riccardi. We got the Victor Faro Frigga variant. That would get me 2,000 tokens if I got it. We got Venomized Spider-Ham, which would get me a Wolverine avatar. No thanks. We got the Venomized variant of Hydra Bob, which is also in that same album. And we got the Midnight Suns variant of Nico Minoru. And that would get me 2,000 credits for 1,200 gold. So the only one I would even consider here maybe would be Frigga, but yeah, I'm probably okay. So I'll probably be staying away from any of those. Although the Rocket and Groot is enticing, but I have some good Rocket and Groots. Let me pick up my free credits and my... Oh, I have to renew my gold pass. Yeah, I'm going to have to go do that, actually. I do get the gold pass. All right, let's look at variants that I've gotten throughout the course of the week. Obviously, I mentioned that Spider-Man variant, and boy, do I have good splits on Spider-Man. I really do have good splits on Spider-Man. The split I have right now on this card, I have the red Crackle with the red webbed border and a gold, and then that's a gold variant. So I have a gold variant. So that, I mean, it looks amazing with just the gold background behind it. Because of the car, how the card is made, and because it's Iron Spider. I mean, that looks phenomenal. So I have really good splits with regular Spider-Man. The Jack Flag variant, of course, I got, that was a 700 gold, so I got that free. I have a X-23 variant that I got. That is the Graphite Studio variant of X-23. I got the Carnage Silver Surfer, which is basically... It's called Cosmic Carnage, Carnage Cosmic variant, and it's just Carnage riding on a surfboard. So it's not the Carnage ones. It's just Carnage riding on a surfboard. It's kind of weird. Starhawk, I got the variant of him, the Paul Maffeon variant of Starhawk. And also I got the Eric Kinnett variant of Starhawk. So I have 2 variants of Starhawk, which is a card I'll probably never play. Unreveal +1. They had to change the wording up on this because it's confusing a lot of people. Unreveal +1 power 2 your cards at the left location if it's an odd turn. Otherwise, give it to the right location. I got the Adam Warlock Infinity Gauntlet variant. This is a sick variant by Scan, it's called. With him holding up the gauntlet, I love it. That's absolutely amazing, Adam Warlock. Gladiator, I got the Envar Studio variant of that. I got the Tag Team variant of Yondu which has, is it 2 Yondus in there? Yeah, I think it's like the MCU Yondu and the comic book Yondu, which is cool. I got the Nightforged variant of Nebula, which looks sick, by the way. And then, of course, the Lee Chiola variant of Rocket and Groot. I got a Pantheon variant of Nova, which also looks amazing. And I think that is it. They're the ones I got for the most part this week. So a lot of variants this week, including that Iron Spider one from the Apple Store. Like I said, if you want to get it, you have to have Apple, an Apple product, of course, to go in there. And the game, I believe, needs to be on iOS. I would guess, right? I would think so. So yeah. So that's so you can get that Iron Spider. It's a very cool looking Spider-Man variant. So yeah, some good ones that came out this week. Some really cool ones. So that is pretty much my week in Snap in a nutshell. Finished the I got one of the portal pulls from the Relic Shop. That was the X23. I didn't get the other two. The other one's a Dan Hip Macari. I will end up probably getting that on the track for free at some point once it goes there. And the other one is a Zeronis Magic. I have tons of Magic variants. It's cool looking, but I have just a ton of them right now, and I really don't, I don't play a ton with Magic. So yeah, and I got the, which by the way is now my new favorite emote, the Mystique emote. Love it with the shh. I mean, my God, how many times did you want to just say that to somebody who's emote spamming, and just use that constantly when they're spamming you with emotes? Perfect. Absolutely perfect. I love it. I love that emote. It's wonderful. It's absolutely a wonderful emote. So there you go. So that was essentially my week in Snap. Of course, I finished up all the Conquest stuff. And I got everything I wanted to get out of all the other stuff. So yeah, in fact, I'm going to get myself some boosters here with the last amount of credits that I have. So there you go. All right. So yeah, so Conquest, I got the card. I did everything I wanted to do in Conquest. And yeah, so there's that. So I played a lot of Sanctum. You got all the decks and stuff that I played for the most part. And that was my week in the game. So that is in a snap. All right, we are now going to turn our attention to the Comics Corner, and we are going to talk about the new cards in comics. So we're going to talk about Jack Flag, and then we're going to talk about a little bit about Starhawk as well. I'm going to get you guys some background on these characters. So first off, we've got Jack Harrison, Earth 616. And he, of course, is Jack Flag. That is his alias. He also had an alias called King Cobra as well at one point. Affiliation and relationships. He is a group affiliated with S.H.I.E.L.D., of course, former Guardians of the Galaxy, co-director for Captain America's Hotline / member of Stars and Stripes, protege of Captain America. Relatives, Mr. and Mrs. Harrison are his parents. Siblings is Drake Harrison, his brother. Other relatives, Lucy, a living girlfriend. He is single. Physical characteristics, male, 6'1", 210 pounds, blue eyes, brown hair. Origin and living status, human mutated by Hyde formula. Deceased, no. Reality Earth 616, place of birth, Sandhaven, Arizona. And, he was at one point killed by Captain America. His identities are known to authorities. He is American. He is an adventurer. High school graduate, base of operations is nowhere. Formerly Prison 42, Negative Zone, Cleveland, Ohio, Sandhaven, Arizona. His creators are Mark Gruenwald and Dave Hoover. First appearance is in Captain America 434 in 1994, and his death was in Captain America Steve Rogers number 10 in January of 2017. So he's been dead in comics since 2017. All right, so his early life. Him and his brother Drake were members of Captain America's computer hotline network, and they created a citizens patrol group in their hometown of Sandhaven, Arizona. So basically like a, what do they call that? Like a night watch type of thing, or a where you go out and you kind of police your own area. He was attacked by a couple of criminals, and the attack left him unable to use his legs. After the attack, Jack and Drake discovered that the Serpent Society had infiltrated the town. They informed the local authorities of the situation, but it was to little effect as the Serpent Society had paid them all off. Frustrated with the situation, Jack began an intensive martial arts and weightlifting regime with the goal of fighting the Serpent Society himself. He took on a disguise that he thought would make Captain America proud and began to fight crime as Jack Flag. During a bank robbery, Jack intervened and stopped Rock Python and Fer de Lance, both of whom were members of the Serpent Society. Shortly after this, Jack attempted to infiltrate the society, but King Cobra did not fully trust Jack Flag. That's how he had the alias of King Cobra. King Cobra sent him to steal a painting from Mr. Hyde, who severely beat Jack. While fighting, Flag was drenched in Hyde's chemicals and developed superhuman strength. After receiving his new powers, Flag easily defeated Mr. Hyde and retrieved the painting that he was supposed to steal for the Serpent Society. Before returning the painting to King Cobra, he contacted Captain America Hotline and informed them that the Serpent Society was in Sandhaven. Impressed that he was able to defeat Mr. Hyde, Cobra tried out Jack as the new King Cobra. While Flag was undercover with the Serpent Society, Captain America and his protege, Free Spirit, showed up to aid Jack and defeat the Society. Jack followed Captain America and Free Spirit east, aiding them against Ultimatum, AIM, and Madcap. When Captain America believed he was dying, he charged Jack, Free Spirit, Fabian Stankiewicz, and Zach Moonhunter with maintaining his hotline. Post-Civil War, now living in Cleveland, later helped a girl escape a group of gangsters and was targeted by the new Thunderbolts for violating the Superhuman Registration Act. He was able to subdue almost all of the Thunderbolts team, but was stabbed in the spine by Bullseye while attempting to escape, destroying his cauda equina and leaving him paralyzed. He was taken into custody and imprisoned in a superhuman prison named Prison 42, which resided in the Negative Zone. He was also in War of Kings. This is, of course, with the Skrull invasion. Prison 42 fell under siege. He became part of an army, was then visited by Peter Quill. When Peter was sent inside Prison 42 to negotiate with Jack for the surrender of the facility to Blastar's forces, unfortunately due to a betrayal of one of Jack's men, Skeleton Key, the doors of Prison 42 were open to Blastar's forces, who stormed the facility. Jack Flag and Peter Quill were surrounded when Peter's Guardians of the Galaxy team suddenly teleported in to save them. Jack Flag and Peter escaped back to Nowhere, the Guardians of the Galaxy's headquarters, where Jack's spinal injury was healed by alien technology and his paralysis cured. Considering himself a wanted man on Earth, Jack decided to stay with the Guardians for a while as a fellow adventurer. The Thanos Imperative, Jack was on board the Sacrosanct, the homeworld of the Universal Church of Truth, when Thanos was resurrected and went on a rampage across the world. At some point, he left the Guardians and returned to Earth. Was recruited by Captain America along with Free Spirit as part of S.H.I.E.L.D. Jack has a cheerful and carefree personality, which has been shown through his partnership with Free Spirit, where the two engaged in constant banter. He was shown not to take things too seriously when Free Spirit showed a concern over Captain America's illness and what they would do in life after they stopped being heroes. This attitude is carried on as a member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, where he was a comic relief with out-of-place comments and witty one-liners. Jack also has a strong sense of righteousness inspired by Captain America, which motivated him and his brother to form a citizens patrol group, coming face-to-face with the corruption posed by the Serpent Society. His powers are all from the Hyde formula, possesses superhuman abilities as a result of being doused with the chemicals that Calvin Zabo uses to transform himself into Mr. Hyde. Chemicals which have never been identified by name have caused some degree of body-wide augmentation to Jack's physiology. Gave him superhuman strength, superhuman stamina, superhuman durability, and the accelerated healing factor. Prior to him being paralyzed and even without his powers, he is a superb athlete and skilled in a number of different martial arts. He does employ some technology designed by his brother, once using a boombox, which fired entangling rockets and disorienting fireworks. That's cool. All right, so that is Jack Flag. And now we will go to Starhawk. And then we'll take a look at Comics Corner and find out where you can look these two up in comics. All right, Starhawk. to see if I got the right one here for you. Sometimes you've got a few different people. Oh, I didn't realize that. That was the character that Sylvester Stallone played in the Guardians films. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know he was Starhawk. Okay. That's pretty cool. Those of you who remember, he was Sylvester Stallone was in the Guardians films. That's cool, man. Stakar Ogord. All right, here we go. Stakar Ogord. We're going to get to his background here in a second, I hope. Maybe. Here we go. Stakar Ogord. He has a quote. I am the wisdom and the glory of your ancestors. I am the light and the giver of light. I am your heritage and your destiny. I am the power that was Arcturus, said Starhawk. Stakar Ogord, current alias Starhawk. Stakar of the House of Ogord, was also known by that. One who knows, or the light, the giver of light. So he has had several different aliases. Group affiliation, Guardians of the Galaxy. Formerly Reavers of Arcturus, Defenders and Avengers. Relatives, his parents were Wendell Vaughn, whose father, who's deceased. Kismet, his mother. Ogord, adoptive father, ex-father-in-law. Salon, adoptive mother or mother-in-law. Spouses, Alida of the House of Ogord. Children are Tara and Sita. Daughters are both deceased. His son John also deceased. Other relatives, the Vaughn family. Many unidentified adopted relatives through Earth 691 and other realities. His marital status is divorced. Gender, of course, is male/female when merged with Alida. He's 6'4" and 450 pounds. Damn, dude. Eyeballs are yellow iris and white, and his iris is none visible. Hair is strawberry blonde. Mutant, half human, half artificial human, empowered by the Hawk God. Living status, alive, formerly deceased, Earth 691. His place of birth is Vesper. He was killed by Abrogate, resurrected by himself. Identity is secret. His citizenship is Octuran. He's an archaeologist. Education, unrevealed, includes vast accumulated knowledge from centuries of study and having relived countless variations on his own life through a series of time loops. Base of operations, Starship Captain America 2, formerly Arcturus 4, and the asteroid base. Creators were Steve Gerber and Sal Buscema. First appearance was Defenders 27 from June 1975. I'll give you a little history. When Earth was attacked during the War of the Worlds in June 2001, the superhero Quasar rescued Kismet, pregnant with his child, and brought her to the monastery planet Vesper. Quasar was killed on his way back to Earth. As soon as Kismet gave birth, her son was kidnapped by the evil creature Era and deposited on Arcturus 4. He was found by Ogord of the Reavers, who raised him as his own and named him Stakar. At some point in his life, Stakar's adult mind was sent back in time and possessed his infant self. This cycle repeated many times, causing Stakar to live his life over and over. Stakar grew up on Arcturus 4. He was a pacifist and a great disappointment to his adoptive family. He took an interest in archaeology. Due to an accident, he was merged with Alida Ogord and became Starhawk. They fled Ogord, married, and had children. Oh, so it's like a combined being. After they were re-emerged, Stakar left their home and joined the Guardians of the Galaxy, helping to drive the Badoon off Earth, because he sensed that the human girl known as Gina Drake would play a vital role in the future. When the Guardians found themselves unable to fit into post-war civilian life, Starhawk led them on a mission to explore space. During this time, he and Alida fought for control of their common body as she was trying to get him to return to their children who were in danger. Even as he kept making changes to his life, his memories seemed to change. Although he enjoyed being part of the Guardians, he seemed to be only concerned with himself. He forcibly re-merged with Alita to keep himself alive. However, Alita eventually overpowered him and separated herself once again. After the Guardians had altered their timeline, this caused Stakar to relive his life over and over again. He and Alita had an argument, but the Hawk God bonded them together by fusing their fingers together. After being forced to work together, the Hawk God eventually granted their wishes and separated them, with Stakar retaining the power while Alita retained her light powers. After Alita went to the Guardians, Hawk God refused to reveal to Stakar the truth about his ancestry. This caused Stakar to go on a quest to learn more, which led him to a wounded Silver Surfer. After healing him, Stakar got hold of the Surfer's quantum bands, which were once worn by his biological father. He was eventually consumed by Abrogate and went to the White Room, where all former wielders of the quantum bands went after death, and met his father. After Quasar told his son about his mother, Stakar was able to find her on Vesper. However, Era came to them and revealed that he was responsible for taking Stakar away from Kismet along with other vile deeds. Following the Hawk God encouraging Stakar, he went with his mother, decided to confront Era in order to fix the multiversal imbalance of the War of the Cosmic Entities. When Major Victory was stranded on Earth 616 and being attacked by Starhawk of Earth 80923, the main Starhawk briefly checked on Major Victory before disappearing. When the incursion began, destroying the 8th iteration of the multiverse, Korvac used Gina to form a temporal instability, causing the Guardians to be stuck in a time loop. As Korvac was unable to prevent the incursion as time was broken, causing Stakar to reemerge with Alita, and eventually they all faded away. His powers are superhuman strength, speed, stamina, durability, agility, reflexes, immortality, light generation and manipulation, darkness generation and manipulation, healing, flight, superhuman senses, precognition, and intangibility. And abilities, of course, are archaeology. Paraphernalia is his suit made of alien materials, including a retracting transparent face mask and life support system and retractable solar wind collector wings. Transportation is Starship Captain America, Dry Dock, Freedom's Lady, and Starship Captain America 2. So there you go. That is Starhawk. And we are going to go into Comics Corner. And we're going to talk more about these two and where we can find them in comics. So let us look up. We'll go in reverse. We'll look up Starhawk first. And we'll see what we got. They got a character for him, unlike last week when we didn't have characters mentioned in here. The son of Quasar and Kismet of Earth 691. Stakar was taken in by the Reavers and married Alita. Two merged into Starhawk, a precognitive hero who joined the Guardians of the Galaxy. So there you go. And as you can imagine, in a lot of Guardians books, Guardians of the Galaxy Annual from 1991, Guardians from 1990 to 1994, Guardians from 2019, Guardians 3000, Guardians of the Galaxy 1990 from 1995, number 60, number 23. Yeah, so a lot of Guardians titles. I don't see anything that he's got by himself. He was in, of course, Marvel Presents. Now, this is going back to like where his origins are, from 1977. Marvel 2-in-1 with Thing and Moondragon, he was in that. Marvel Presents Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, so just a lot of Guardians stuff. The Korvac Saga from 2015. Guardians of the Galaxy Marvel Presents 2019. Yeah, so just a lot of Guardians of the Galaxy stuff, but there is a lot of stuff to read on him. So that's kind of cool. So now we'll go to Jack Flag and see what we got in here for him. Yeah, it doesn't look like much on Jack Flag. Jack Murdoch, Jack O'Lantern, Jack Power, Union Jack. I mean, there is some Captain America stuff here. Captain America, Black Panther, Flags of Our Fathers. No, that's not it. Tales of Asgard, Union Jack. Wow, no, there's really... I mean, you could probably look up the separate book that he came from. Other than the books that I told you he was in, like the the long story issues and stuff for the overreaching arc books, but he of course doesn't have his own, and he's not coming up with any, like, with a whole bunch of stuff in here at least anyway. So not much there for poor Jack, but I'm sure you can find him in, like I said, a lot of those books that he was mentioned in. Okay. Let's go to the books that I have been reading and new this week stuff. So this is what we got new in the app. We've got Expatriate X-Men. Sounds like a new book too. Issue number 2, yeah. The Boba Fett Black, White, and Red, which has been very good, up to issue number 3. They've got Daredevil and Punisher, The Devil's Trigger, issue number 1. Oh, that should be good. Definitely give that a look. We've got Uncle Scrooge, number 4, if you like the ducks. Oh, the new Hulk's out. Yes, I haven't read this yet. This is the Infernal Hulk. So this takes place after I told you that horror book. I'm sure this is going to be horror kind of a title too. It looks it. But this is from that last one that came to an end. The story that finally came to an end. So this is issue number 1. I'll be reading this as soon as I'm done with the pod. Undead Pool up to issue number 2. Battle World up to issue number 3. X-Vengers up to issue number 2. Cloak and Dagger up to issue number 2. Black Cats up to issue 4. The Undead Iron Fist up to issue number 3. The Punisher, Marvel Knights The Punisher. Oh, this was really good. I read issue number 1. Very good start to that book. Very violent, as you would expect, up to issue number 2. Venom Black, White, and Blood up to issue number 4. The Mortal Thor up to issue number 4. X-Men Infinity Comic, which is exclusive to the app, issue number 8. And then we got Simbi, which comes out every week, issue number 5. And we have Miles Morales, Spider-Man Brooklyn's Finest, issue number 7. So kind of a light week in the app, but still some very good stuff. And I'm still in the middle of reading Deadpool Batman, reading Spider-Man Noir, the comic, which is also very good. The new Captain America, which I'm really enjoying. One World Under Doom, which I've been reading as well. Mentioned the Book of Boba Fett's Jedi Knights. I've been reading that also. The Machine Man book, Daredevil Cold in Hell, I've been reading. I'm just looking over some other titles. Red Hulk. And yeah, so there you go. And I did tell you guys that I bought a new comic, a graphic novel. Well, it is not new. It is not new, but it is one of my favorite books. This is in my probably top 3 comics that I have ever read. And I went out and I bought it because, again, I can't find my copy. And I have read this many, 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 many times. I've also read this while listening to the iconic soundtrack at the same time. And boy, does it fit well with the comic book. But this is The Crow. If you have not read this, I would not suggest a comic book to read more than this one. It is created by James O'Barr. This is a fantastic book. Now, I know probably many of you have seen the movie. Now, this movie defined a generation. It really did. The generation where you had, a lot of people wearing like the black leather stuff. A lot of people wearing like the buckled boots and all that kind of stuff. But that came because of this. And the music for this soundtrack is just, again, iconic music for its time. But this book is amazing. I could read it over and over. The story is absolutely tragic. And it came from a tragic time in James O'Barr's life. His girlfriend at the time, he was drunk. And he wanted his girlfriend to come over and visit. And he called her. He was drinking. And like I said, and he called her and he kind of persuaded her to coming to visit him. And she ended up going out and she was hit by a drunk driver and killed. So you can imagine the tragedy behind it. And just Just that, and if you know that story, you could see the tragic behind the artwork in the pages. So, or the tragedy behind it. I'm going to just read the end of this paragraph by James O'Barr. Now, this goes on. This is literally James O'Barr's introduction in this book. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm just going to read this end. This says, "Dear you, without exception, at every show, comic convention, or screening of The Crow that I attend, someone will come up to me with tears streaming down their face and say thank you. This book saved my life. Usually I hug them and say, no, don't be silly. You saved your life. I just let you know that you weren't alone. Sometimes in the dark hours, amid complete and utter despair, that's all it takes. One voice, one book, one song to know that you are not alone. For me, it was Ian Curtis in Joy Division. Those agonizing walls of hopelessness were my lifeline. Someone understood exactly how I was feeling. I was not alone. Every day I made an effort to let someone know they are important and my world is a better place because they are in it. Sometimes it's the librarian. Sometimes it's the girl at the Kroger checkout. Sometimes it's just my cat. Today it's you. Thank you for 30 years of love, comfort, and support. I love you all." And then he goes into a little bit of the tragedy. He wrote, and of course the story I just told you about was all pretty much from this, as to what happened. But he wrote, "There's been endless gossip about what actually happened to the girl who was Shelley. And I'd like to set the record straight once and for all. Shelley is the girl in The Crow and, of course, in the comics. It all comes down to this. I was a careless teenager who hadn't paid his car insurance. The local cops knew my car on sight, so I phoned the girl who was Shelley and said, 'Sweetie, why don't you pick me up? I really can't afford another ticket right now.'" So see, even I got the story wrong. I remembered it wrong. It was one of those defining moments where your life suddenly turns sideways for no goddamn good reason. So he wasn't drunk. He called his girlfriend to come pick him up. My bad for screwing that up. It was a series of choices that trip and fall like dominoes, ending in irreversible consequences. On her way to her car to pick me up, she was run down by a drunk driver. See, I got it all out of place here. On her way to pick me up, on her way to her car to pick me up, she was run down by a drunk driver, killed on the spot. But in my mind, in some sort of distorted monkey logic, I was responsible. If I'd only paid my car insurance, if I'd only waited 10 more minutes to call, if I'd only said, "I'll just see you tomorrow, pumpkin." If. There was nothing in my future but nothingness. I'd hoped by putting all my murderous fury into ink on paper that somehow magically all the pain, hurt, and self-destructive behavior that followed would dissolve. I picked the name Shelley after Mary Shelley, who wrote Frankenstein, and Eric from The Phantom of the Opera, because Shelley's death had turned me into a monster under my own skin. Hidden by a stoic face of normalcy, like a mad cartographer, I charted an ink-on-paper landscape swept in rage. If there were no justice in the real world, I would invent some. Today I understand that forgiveness is for the forgiver. Eric and I had to forgive ourselves. Part of this entailed returning to a gravesite I haven't visited in decades. The other part was accepting the death of my friend Brandon Lee on the set of the feature film adaptation of The Crow. The actor who played The Crow, Brandon Lee, if you didn't know, died tragically on the set. He was killed by a gun on the set of the movie. At the time, the same guilt and self-hatred swelled again in my soul. If I had never written this fucking thing, threatened to drown me and suffocate me. Can you imagine? Right? Like, he wrote this because his girlfriend was killed to get all the thoughts out. And then Brandon Lee, who acted in the motion picture adaptation of the film, that is the original version now, not the updated version, which is garbage. But then he died because of this. And could you imagine him feeling the guilt about it and saying that, if I'd never written this fucking thing? Threatened to drown me and suffocate me. It was the help of and compassion of Brandon's fiancée, the beautiful Eliza Hutton, that guided me to shore. I can't thank Eliza enough for opening her life to me, for sharing her grief, and finally for saying the powerful words of simplicity, James, it's not your fault. She is as close to a saint as I've ever met. One last thing you should know. When I began The Crow in 1981, it had only been a few short years since the death of Shelley, in quotes. There were these special moments in time that she and I had shared, intensely personal moments that I held tight to my heart, as if they were fragile, delicate gifts meant for me alone. I was afraid I would cheapen them, or worse, exploit them by putting them into a comic book, no matter how personal or biographical the work was, so I held back. I don't feel that way anymore. The new scene in August Noel is one of those special moments. After 30 years, I've come to a place where I can finally share this with you, because after all, The Crow is a celebration of true love. No one ever really dies as long as they are loved. I know that somewhere Shelley is smiling. So if that doesn't get you to read it, I don't know what will. But it is a fantastic book. And comic or not, if this would have been a novel, it would have been a bestseller. But this is one of my favorite comic books of all time. And I really would love to meet James O'Barr sometime at a convention or something. I would really love to meet him, because this meant a lot to me. And I can remember reading this when I first met my wife. And things like that. And I didn't live through a tragedy or anything like that turned me to the book. I just loved the book. And and I love the movie, the original movie with Brandon Lee, and just an amazing film. And so, go and pick it up and read it if you can. It is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And the soundtrack is just amazing. So I wanted to share that in Comics Corner today with you guys. So, all right, we're going to move on, and we're going to talk a little MCU. I won't spend a lot of time here because there really wasn't a whole bunch of news this week, really, with the MCU stuff. Not a whole lot going on other than that they announced. By the way, just getting a little bit of movie news here also. Jane Schoenbrun's summer slasher, Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma, starring Gillian Anderson, OMG. In a slasher? Are you kidding me? I will be day one to this film. And it's made by the person who did I Saw the TV Glow, which I've heard very good things about and haven't watched yet, but I'm going to watch it soon because it's on one of the things that I have. So I need to really watch that because I heard really good things about it. The premise of it is, after years of slapdash sequels and waning fandom, the Camp Miasma slasher franchise is handed over to an enthusiastic young director for resurrection. Kind of sounds a lot like a Friday the 13th or Halloween. But when she visits the original movie's star and now reclusive actress who is shrouded in mystery, that's Gillian, the two women fall into a blood-soaked world of desire, fear, and delirium. Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait. Some other news. Sony Pictures CEO Tom Rothman has confirmed that the Spider-Man spin-off universe will be rebooted. Oh, God, why? This is due to Kraven the Hunter flopping at the box office. I mean, just Sony. Message from me to you. Stick to Miles. The animated stuff is phenomenal. And then the third one I'm excited to see. It will be phenomenal. If you're going to reboot Spider-Man, you better reboot it with Miles Morales. Live action Miles Morales. And whether you choose to work with Marvel with that, it's fine. But you need to we don't need another Venom series. We don't need, God knows, we don't need a Madam Web. We don't need a Morbius. Unless you put the good one in one of the Spider-Man films, because I would love to see him go up against Tom Holland. And we don't certainly need to see another Kraven the Hunter unless he is with the Sinister Six or as a villain in a Spider-Man movie. We don't need this rebooted. Now, if by reboot what you mean, Mr. Rothman, is that you're going to start over a Spider-Man universe of your own with Miles Morales, that is fine. Get a great actor for the role. Everybody would love to see a live-action Miles. And then maybe you could cross it over like the video game does. Like everybody loves that Spider-Man video game. Cross it over with Marvel, and you've got yourself a thing where you can have them cross over maybe in one film with Tom Holland. That would be amazing. Otherwise, I want no more part, nor will I spend any amount of money on anything that is made in a Spider-Verse. Okay? Nothing. So, hopefully that is not the case. All right. Again, like I said, not much news really going on this week other than they did say that there was going to be definitely a trailer coming in March for Spider-Man, which, I mean, it's getting kind of late. But I said that before. That's going to happen at CinemaCon. We're going to get a Spider-Man trailer at CinemaCon, and we're also going to probably get a Doomsday teaser at CinemaCon as well, because of the fact that Sony will be there and so will Disney. So that's probably when it's going to be. And I think that happens around the 13th of the month. So keep your eyes open for that. That'll be coming out soon. A lot of ads for Scary Movie 6, and it looks pretty funny. But I think that's really pretty much it. I don't think there's been much. It's been quiet for the Marvel front in MCU news. There hasn't really been a whole lot going on other than that little bit of stuff. They're talking about Doomsday's filming update. Let's see what that is. I'm not going to give away if it's any kind of spoiler or anything like that. Let's see what this is. New filming update suggests some of the wilder MCU theories could be true. Red Guardian actor David Harbour mentioned in an interview he was returning to London to film more. Simply a matter of a reshoot or specific scenes being required. That later segments are being recorded further on in order to reduce the possible window of timer and more spoiler-filled moments could be done. Okay, so that's kind of just boring. 10 Thor storylines the MCU can still use to redeem the God of Thunder. Man, what are these? Let's check out what they have. This is from Comic Book CBR. Thor and Hercules rivalry. Yeah, that'd be cool. We got an actor to play Hercules in Thor, so that'd be Brett Goldstein, of course. He's in Shrinking now, and he was in Ted Lasso. Number 9 is Thor led his own church during Dan Jurgens' run. Number 8, Latvian Prometheus saw Thor take on Doctor Doom. Number 7, Thor fought Gore a second time. Nah, we don't really need to revisit that, I don't think. Number 6, Thor Vikings is one of Thor's darkest tales. Number 5, Thor versus Jormungand is a quintessential Marvel brawl. Ultimate Thor is a Battle World hero. I mean, World War Hulk would be awesome, but it's just never going to happen. And I'm sad about that because that's probably the coolest Hulk story that there is. And I'm very sad that that can't happen because of frickin' Universal. I don't understand that, though. Like, those rights have to be up, but I guess they're not because Marvel still cannot make a Hulk standalone movie. They have the rights to the character, and of course, Ruffalo is going to be in Spider-Man, but they cannot make a Hulk film. I don't know why that is. Beta Ray Bill. Yeah, we got to get a Thor story with Beta Ray Bill. Yeah, for sure. Beta Ray Bill needs to be in a movie. Thor number 2 is Thor became Galactus' herald during the Battle of Black Winter. Well, I mean, anything to bring Galactus back, I'm down for. Siege puts Thor between a rock and a hard place. So that's the team up book called Siege. Yeah, they'd have to do that with a lot of Marvel characters, and I don't think that'll be coming up anytime soon. Brand New Day will reportedly include a big MCU reference. New York street level, blah, blah, blah. Matt Murdock will be mentioned in Brand New Day. Yeah, there's all this going on, but they still are saying that they're not teaming up, that those two are not teaming up. So now this one says, this is Slash Film says, why Daredevil hasn't joined other superheroes. Let's see what reason they give. The joke we make is, those guys, Avengers and such, are uptown and we're downtown. We kind of have a pocket that's in this world of Hell's Kitchen, in this world of New York. I always think that maybe these characters take little vacations into the larger world, but the story that we're focusing on is really granular. These characters fit into the same street level niche as Daredevil. Supervillains like the kind of Avengers deal with above their pay grade. Spider-Man walks in both worlds, and Punisher is even set to appear in Spider-Man. Getting into the realm of politics, New York politics, Game of Thrones intrigue behind the scenes. All they're really saying is that it's more grounded, I guess, than the Avengers stuff. Marvel officially unveils the next live-action Spider-Man costume. Oh, that's for Spider-Man Noir. I'm excited for that. I really am. I can't wait for that to come out. I think that's going to be very good. So yeah, very, very light week. Not really much going on here. As you can see, they're all just kind of waiting for the Spider-Man trailer to make an appearance. So, okay, let's go over to Pixel Perspective real quick, and we'll put a wrap on this today because we're already... Are we over? Yeah, we're over 2 hours. Okay. So, Pixel Perspective, I'm just going to talk a little bit about Resident Evil. Resident Evil 9 Requiem came out last week. I watched 2 different creators play it. I watched Jacksepticeye, and I also watched Maximilian Dude. Both are very fun. I've watched them both play different games. They both have their own personalities and stuff in what they do. Good gamers. They can get through stuff really, really quickly. Jacksepticeye, I love his humor. He does mostly horror games, and that's why I watch him. Maximilian Dude does a little bit of everything. He does like shooters and all that kind of stuff. He loves Final Fantasy, so him and I have that in common. I'm a big Final Fantasy fan. In fact, I've gone back. I was playing my PlayStation last week. How about that? I was playing Final Fantasy 7 Remake, the second part of it, and I got my Chocobo to ride around on. So I got past that part. So I mean to do some more of that a little later today. And also, I got the NES remake of the Jaws game for PlayStation 4, or for PlayStation 5, rather. So I was playing some old Jaws, some classic Jaws, which I kind of forgot all about, and I had a blast playing that too. And now I heard about, and I shared this with all of you guys, there is a Marvel Retro Collection coming out, and all I gotta see is Maximum Carnage. I loved Maximum Carnage on the Super NES. And man, did I play the crap out of that. And I loved the story in the comics, and all the heroes that were in it. Obviously Cap's in it, Spider-Man's in it, Cloak and Dagger are in it, which is, you don't see them in many things like as far as games go. I even watched that series that they did of Cloak and Dagger. I love those characters. But I just had to see that. But all the other titles that are going to be in it, the Silver Surfer game, I mean, come on, dude. Silver Surfer, which I've never played, by the way, so I'm going to have to revisit it. All they would have had to tell me was they threw in that Punisher shooter game, but that they didn't. But I'm already hooked. I'm definitely getting this. Let me see. I know I shared it, but let me look it up. Marvel Classics game. Let me see if I can pull it up just by Limited Run announces collection of classic Marvel arcade games. So Limited Run Games and Konami have revealed Marvel Maximum Collection, a game that bundles 6 Marvel 8 and 16-bit arcade games into one package. The bundle includes several fan favorites across arcades, Sega Genesis, NES and Super Nintendo. Maximum Carnage was on the Sega Genesis. It includes the beloved X-Men arcade game. I quarter upon quarter upon quarter got thrown into that machine. The two-player Spider-Man Venom games. Now, I never played that one as much. And even the infamously difficult Silver Surfer. Full list of games. So we got X-Men, the arcade game. I'd buy it alone for that. Captain America and the Avengers. That I played a lot. Spider-Man Venom Maximum Carnage. Oh, my God. Sega Genesis. Played it on the Genesis. Finished it on the Genesis. Spider-Man Venom Separation Anxiety. Also a Super Nintendo and Genesis. Spider-Man X-Men Arcades Revenge. Arcades Revenge is phenomenal. Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Game Boy and Game Gear, and then Silver Surfer, which was just for the NES. I'm all over this. I will be getting it as soon as it comes out, and I will definitely be playing that game. So if you are looking for classic arcade style good stuff and have never played some of these games, highly, 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 highly recommended. I cannot recommend this enough to get. Phenomenal. But I got off track. Resident Evil Requiem, it is for first person, and it has a first person level, which is played by one of the characters, and it has a third person level, which is played by Leon Kennedy, who you will know if you played any of the Resident Evil games along the way. I, in my gaming career, was able to play Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2. Once it started getting further and further away and it got into more first person, I could not play them anymore. I cannot play first person. I can watch people do it, but I unfortunately cannot play them. So I would be able to play half of this new game. And I wouldn't be able to play the other levels. I could play the Leon Kennedy levels, but I cannot play the others, which kind of sucks because the game is phenomenal. From the two creators that I watched, the game looks incredible. They go back to Raccoon City. Little spoiler there. After it's been wiped off the face of the earth, big craters from the bombs and everything they had to do to try to get rid of the zombies in that city. The police station is still standing. A lot of nostalgia in this. And so if you're familiar with any of these games and if you played them all along, you're going to love this game. It looks like it took the creators about maybe 15 hours or so to finish it. The first go around after playing it, but they had a blast. It is extremely bloody, gory, and it is scary in parts. There is a creature in this that is terrifying. Absolutely. My wife sat there and was kind of closing her eyes like, oh my God, like this is terrifying. And there's very early on, one of the creatures you meet very early on is extremely terrifying. And so pretty much has everything a Resident Evil game would have that you would want in it. So again, I would tell you, video games are extremely expensive. They're $70, and that's what this one runs. I considered buying it, but again, I just can't. When I watch the creators, there's too much first person in it, and I just wouldn't be able to do it. Now, I have to see if there's a way to make it third, because sometimes you could switch perspectives. I don't know if you can switch out of the first person perspective with that character, but I'm going to check into it. If you can, then I may do it. Although I'm still bad at these games. I'm not good at shooters. My reactions, maybe just because I'm 56 years old, but my reactions for stuff like that aren't as good as they used to be. So I have a hard time with the aiming and then the shooting and all that kind of stuff. So, and especially, man, these zombies, some of them are super fast. They get on top of you in no time. And if you don't get that hit like exactly precise and you're not getting headshots off and stuff like that, you're going to be in big trouble. But I would recommend it to anybody. It looks, like I said, from my perspective and watching them play, it looks absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. So there you go. That's Pixel Perspective. A lot of stuff going on in the gaming world when big releases come out like this. I'm excited for a bunch of titles this year. And of course, Grand Theft Auto is going to be the big one. That I did confirm it is taking place in Vice City, which means that it takes place in the 80s, I think, unless they're going to make it updated in Vice City. But I hope it's still 80s stuff because, man, I just love driving around with that car and listening to 80s music in the car. So, and if it's updated, that's cool too. But maybe just have the radio playing 80s stations, because man, I dig that stuff. But it's going to be a fun year for video games. A lot of big names coming out. So, all right, guys. Well, look, I'm over that 2 hour mark. And yeah, I guess it's time to say goodbye. So, again, sorry about the lateness. This is the first day I've gotten off in a little bit, and the first day I wanted to get this out Friday, but a lot of times when I get home from work, I'm just exhausted, and that's what happened on Friday. I just kind of sat down, started watching some of these gamers play the game, and I got enthralled, and before I know it, it was 2 hours gone by, and I had to go to bed. And I had a long weekend of work too. So yeah. Little weather report. We've got another stupid winter storm coming tonight. It's chilly out today, and we're getting freezing rain. But I think, and I hope the rest of the week is going to go up into the 60s. We may even hit 70s. So thank God March is here. Spring might be coming, and I'll be over this stupid winter already because I've had more than enough. But yeah. Listen, guys, enjoy the new season. It starts tomorrow. It's crazy. Another new season coming up. Let me know your card ranks and stuff like that. And, of course, I'll be having some season pass giveaways like I did last month. But before I go, again, I'm part of the Snap Judgments Network League of Podcasts, which include Snap on This with, of course, Lauren Whatevs, Ree, and Benjamin Roller. I just listened to their newest episode. Always great stuff. They have their card ranks on that as well. And they do their secret homework and talk about other games on there. So go check them out. And then, of course, Glazer's pod, Snap Judgments, who always has really cool guests. I think Lauren was just on his pod. I got to get back on there too. And always good people on with him. And of course, he does streaming as well. So make sure you check out Glazer. Great guy and a great person in the community of Marvel Snap. So don't forget the Twitch drops are coming. I think they start tomorrow, actually. So make sure that you're watching your favorite creators and spending some time with them and getting some good drops and some good stuff. And if you want that Spider-Man card, you got to go to the Apple Store to get it. So, all right, guys, that is it for me. Please enjoy Snap however it is you choose to enjoy it. Please stay safe, be kind to one another always, and hopefully I will talk to you all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. This is your Snap DJ signing off.